Hey y'all, God bless you. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I make my pastelillos and rice with gandules. So let's go ahead and get started. First, you're going to want to get all of your ingredients together. This just helps to stay organized. I have 1 pound of ground chuck, red pepper, green pepper, some onion and potato chopped up, my sofrito can of tomato sauce, and minced garlic. And I'm just going to start by heating a deep pot over about medium-high to high heat. And I'm going to plop in my ground chuck. And I like using ground chuck for this. To me, it just tastes better. So I'm just going to start by breaking up the meat so it could start browning all over. And then I'm going to start to season it. To season it, it's fairly simple. I just use a generous amount of adobo with the red cap. And right now I'm putting in 1 packet of sazon, and I'm gonna just stir all of that together so all the seasoning can mix and incorporate into the meat as it continues to brown. And then at this point, I'm gonna take my red pepper, green pepper, and onion and toss that in and mix everything together. And then I'm adding in my chopped potato and again mixing everything together. And then next I'm going to add in my sofrito, and I get my sofrito fresh from Tony's. To me it's the best and it's a lot easier and quicker than making it. Making it from scratch is perfectly fine if you choose to, but I just add in a generous amount of that as well. This is what's going to really bring out the flavor for the filling of the pastelillos. And then I add a whole can of tomato sauce, one of the little cans, and a good tablespoon of minced garlic. And then I just mix all of that together. And by this point, I realized that I wanted to add another packet of sazon, so I went ahead and did that. And then again, you just want to mix everything all together. And then this is going to simmer over low heat for about 40 minutes. So you just put the top on, lower the heat, and let it do its thing. So right now we're going to start on the rice. I have about 5 cups of rice in the strainer, and I have it in the strainer because I rinsed out the rice just to remove the starch. And then I got all my ingredients together for the rice. And we're going to start by heating a pot with some vegetable oil. And before I turn on the heat, I like to add in my seasonings. So I'm adding in 2 packets of sazon. And then I go ahead and put in a good amount of adobo as well. And then right here I'm using the Mrs. Dash salt-free garlic and herb. And I go ahead and add a good amount of that as well. I don't really have measurements, I kind of just eyeball it. And then I've turned on the heat already, and I stir the oil and the seasonings together, and then I add some chopped cilantro and mix all of that up. And then here I have some chopped ham steak that I just cubed, and I throw that in to the oil mixture. Right now I'm adding in some minced garlic. And then here I have my olives and red peppers, and I toss that in as well and mix everything together. And then next I'm going to toss in my can of gandules, and they're in this little strainer thing because I like to rinse them before I put them into the rice. So now I just go ahead and stir all of that together, and right now I'm adding the sofrito, and I add as you can see a good amount. Again, this is just what's going to bring out the flavor of everything. And then I add a can of tomato sauce. And I just stir all of that together. And then I let it come to a light boil before I add in the rice. Right now I'm adding in all of the rice to the mixture that we already have in the pot. And I just stir it all together so everything is incorporated. And I add about 3/4 of that can of tomato sauce of water to the pot. and then I stir it around. And here is a trick to let you know if you have enough ingredients. If the spoon stands up without moving, it's all good. So we're gonna go ahead and I kind of take the edges and spoon it toward the middle, and then I put the lid on, lower the heat to about simmer, and that's gonna simmer for about 40 minutes, and we'll check it halfway. So right now the meat mixture, I'm just straining it to get all of the liquid out, because you don't want any liquid to go into your dough for the pastelillos. So here is all of the meat mixture strained, and then here are the discs that I use. I buy them pre-made just because it's a lot easier. You can go ahead and make them if you like, but for me this is easier, and I love the taste of this dough. So I just take about a tablespoon and a half of mixture, put it in the center of the dough, and then I fold it, and then to crimp them shut, I just use a fork. A good old traditional fork will do, and I crimp the edges until they're all sealed. And this is what it should look like. You can fill it as much as you want. You really don't want to overfill though, because you don't want them to break while they're cooking. So then here in a medium-sized pan, I have some vegetable oil that I've heated through, and I'm going to add the pastelillos. You don't want to add too many at a time and crowd the pan, because they'll take longer to fry and they'll fry unevenly. And then right here, it's been about 30 minutes, and I'm checking the rice, and I like to grab the rice from the bottom and stir it on top, so that way the rice that was on top can be moved to the bottom, and then that's how you get an even cook of the rice. And then I just fry the pastelillos until they're brown on both sides. So this really is just an eyeball thing. You can keep flipping and turning. You just don't want to see any raw dough. That's basically what you're doing. You're just cooking the dough all the way through. And once they are all browned on both sides and cooked evenly, then you're ready to serve up. Here is the pot of rice completely done, and the pastelillos, and here's the plate. I just served it with a side of avocado, because you can't go wrong with a side of avocado. And here's your plate of rice with gandules with pastelillos. Enjoy!
This right here is a dinner plate. This right here.
Babe.
You're the best, baby.
Pastelillos.
Crispy.
It's good.
Babe, it's delicious.
2 thumbs up.